Hello, I'm Dr. Wayne Buckhanan, and I have a couple of situations that I want you to consider. When was the last time that you put your shoes on in the morning and then you put on your socks or your stockings over the top? Or when have you had your tea or your coffee and you tried to pull a shirt on over your head or a sweater while holding that mug? As ridiculous as these situations sound, these are the sorts of things that people are doing in their businesses without really realizing that that's what's happening. And it's not really surprising with 543,000 new businesses starting every month that we've got 28 million small businesses in the US right now. These are under 500 employees each. And of that 28 million businesses, we've got 22 million. That's over 78% have no employees whatsoever. These non-employing companies, this makes up the bulk of the people out there who are small businesses, entrepreneurs, self-employed. Here's the bad news. 2/3 of those 22 million people generate less than $25,000 in revenue per year. 80% of those people generate less than $50,000 in revenue per year. This is revenue. This is before expenses and taxes and all the other places that our money goes. Now, I don't know about you, but when I started my small business, it was not so that I could work at barely above minimum wage. The question we should be asking ourselves is, where's our business right now? Because there is so much to be gathered there. Now, right now, take out a piece of paper, pen, pencil, open up a blank document on your computer, whatever you need to do, but I want you to answer the question right now. How is your business working out for you? Start at the top of the page. How is my business working out for me? Some people answering this question will dive right into the facts and the figures. Here's the income, here's the liabilities, here's the assets, here's the revenues that we're generating, here's how many customers we've got, here's how much we can expect per customer. All great questions. Other people will dive in and start looking at the people aspects of things. Who do I have for employees? Who do I have for suppliers? What businesses do I refer business to? Who refers business to me? Look at my customers and my clients list and all of the people involved. Again, great aspects to consider. Some people, when asking the question about how is our business working out for us, will immediately dive into how they do what they do. So they'll look at the processes, they'll look at what sorts of things that they're doing, the results they're getting. They'll look at how is this process working for me. Again, great things to consider. And a fourth group of people will immediately go to, hey, here are the places where we had massive growth. We had all sorts of great stuff going on. And here are places where we're poised to take things to the next level. Again, great aspects to consider. If you find yourself only thinking about one or two of these sections, realize there are a lot more questions you could be answering. And there's great value in writing this down. How is your business working out for you? While you address this question, I'm going to push forward. I'm going to keep talking. You write down anything that you need to write down about where your business is right now. And you'll see how important this becomes as we continue through the content. As I said, I'm Dr. Wayne Buckhanan. I'm the head changer at Merck's. And what is Merck's? Merck's is a company I started in 1997 that has evolved over the last 2 decades from a pure technology and computer support company to embrace the human side of technology. Started with a $1,000 loan and a laptop, and now I get to work with international TV personalities, published authors, professional musicians, real estate investors, and many other entrepreneurs and small business owners. But who am I? Well, I'm a geek who likes people and teaching. And I know it's a bit of an odd combination, but I'll show you how the pieces come together. As far as the geek side, I have a PhD in electrical engineering. I don't think it gets much geekier than that. I've done graduate work in mathematics, particle accelerator physics, computer science, which is what I'm now teaching as a college professor. On the people side, I love the people technologies as well as interacting with individuals. So I'm a trainer of neurolinguistic programming, format instructional design methodologies, ChangeWorks coaching technologies, and I've got certifications in other human aspects of things like a certified master stream sales professional, and if sales isn't human related, I don't know what is. A lab profile practitioner, which looks at how people are motivated and how they do the work that they do. And I've also studied in-depth personality dynamics, adult developmental models, and authored on the human side of social media and reaching goals, among other topics. I also really like teaching. I've taught high school, college, entrepreneurs, professionals, the full range of adult learners, even some that weren't quite mature yet. And they come in all categories, just in case you were wondering. I've developed my own model of learning, the CABS model, that's based off of pieces from accelerated learning, neurolinguistics, neurosemantics, experiential learning theory, among other areas. And I've given an invited TED Talk on the future of education. So this is kind of the professional side of things. You'll see the geekiness, the people, the teaching all come out. How am I in personal life? Well, family is very important to me. Both my children, the two pictured here, church family, and the students that we've been guided to minister to here in the college setting. We also have animals as a very large part of our lives. My wife has run a hobby farm for the last few years and raised goats and chickens and gardening and all that fun stuff. I also am an anachronism. I love the Middle Ages, the Renaissance, the Victorian era, that whole aspect of things, that very wide but not current aspect of history. My family loves going to Renaissance fairs. We get dressed up in the outfits and go and see the shows and the animals and just have a grand day of it. I'm also a maker. In that anachronistic vein, I've done blacksmithing, love pounding on hot metal, playing with that aspect of things, but then I also have the very high-tech end of things, playing with the 3D printers, and I've got a CNC 3-axis mill sitting here in my office taunting me to make new toys. Fitness side of things is very important to me. I love kettlebells. I've been a Tai Chi player for years, and my latest obsession is circular strength training, which ties these and a couple other cool things together in a way that makes complete and total sense to me. Eating side of things, I eat intermittent fasting. I've often said I eat one meal a day, whether I need it or not. Usually more or less kosher, mostly paleo, nearly zone. But why am I telling you all this? Well, first off, so that when you invite me over for dinner, you understand why I'm not eating the shrimp. But also to show that I'm pretty clear on who I am, what I want in life, and I've gotten a vast majority of the things that I want. Which leads to why I'm here today. There are 3 reasons I'm here today presenting this. 1 is to share actionable information, even if we never interact again. 2, develop a new business relationship with those who are ready for that. And 3, for us to all have fun. The more fun, the better in business and in life. But you know what? I've talked about myself enough. What do you think about me? Yeah, and I'm probably making that eel face waiting for a reaction, even though I know I'm not going to get one. So, moving on. I'm sure you know that this is the Business and Book Summit 3. And I'm hoping that you set aside the distractions for the next half hour or so, because I have some ideas about life planning that might help you to close more deals, enjoy stronger relationships, and have more of the things that you want in life. I'm not sure where you're starting today, so I'd like to begin with a simple yet powerful idea that you can put into action immediately, but only if that's okay with you. All right. What will you learn during this presentation? You'll learn what 80% of small businesses don't realize. How dressing is like business planning. You'll learn native wisdom for modern businesses. You'll learn 2 ways that people sabotage their businesses, and more importantly, the 6 steps that you can use to prevent that sabotage and to create the business of your dreams. So, what is this native wisdom that we can apply to modern businesses? It's the idea of the path of self-discovery. This is where native cultures would guide through the process of discovering what it is that we want and how it is we can get there. And that right there is one of the areas that I've found working with all of these entrepreneurs and small businesses to be one of the biggest stumbling blocks people have. They don't know where they're going. Some of them don't know where they're at, and they don't know how they're going to get there. So that chunk there, do you know where you're at? Do you know where you're going? Do you know how you're going to get there? If you have that in place, that takes care of one of the huge stumbling blocks that I see so many self-employed especially run into. The people who are really good at what they did, and they decided that they were going to leave corporate America and step out and do this on their own, not remembering that they've got to do all their own marketing and sales and bookkeeping and all those other departments that happened in corporate America that they took advantage of and took for granted because they were annoying and made you do paperwork, and you're getting away from all that, which means that either you end up doing it all yourself as chief cook and bottle washer, or you have to hire it out. And as we saw, that is the vast minority that are able to hire on employees and do all of those things for them. So, assuming that you're one of these very small businesses and you're looking for the path, we can apply this to business of all sizes, but it works really well when it's a small business and maybe even a solopreneur, someone who's doing the bulk of the work themselves with some outsourcers. But we're going to dive in and look at this path and how it applies to your business planning. There are 6 steps to the path of self-discovery. The first one is the blue step. What in nature is blue? And if you said water, you really need to stop drinking out of the toilet. Water is clear, but the sky is blue. What is the nature of the sky? The sky is overarching. It covers everything. And in the blue step, what we're really looking at is managing the process of going through this path of self-discovery. This is making sure that we're doing each of the steps individually. We're not mixing things together. And this is also making sure that we're doing them in the order that makes the most sense and is actually productive. Later on, we'll take a look at what happens if you mix up the order. And I think that you can imagine what happens if you find yourself trying to do more than one of these processes all at once. We end up with a big mess and nothing really happens. Maybe you've been in meetings like that. I don't know. So, the blue step. Often this comes in the form of a consultant or a coach who comes in, or me today guiding you through this process to make sure that, hey, look, we're doing the blue step now. Great. We've established the aspect of that. We're going to move on to the next step. And making sure that we actually have those separated out and calling foul when someone is in the wrong mode, saying, well, you had a chance to do that. We'll come back to that. But right now we're doing this. Or it may be that you recruit the executive part of your mind to play that same role of timekeeper, of taskmaster, and that allows you to walk through the process and get those signals that say, hey, wait, no, that we're not doing that yet. Wait on that. We'll do that soon. So that is what the blue step is all about, managing this process as we walk down the path. With that in mind, let's take the next step. The next step is the white step. What in nature is white? And many people think of snow when they think of white in nature. What is the nature of snow? Well, snow is cold and hard. And the white step is all about cold, hard facts and figures. This is telling about what is the current situation. This is in very specific terms. This is now. This is where we're at the moment. So this is numbers, this is figures, and it may even be beyond the numbers saying, hey, we have these sorts of resources available. whether those are human resources, whether those are talents, whether those are monetarily, whether they're equipment, inventory. So this is looking at the current situation. And we're wanting to keep this very strictly limited to the current situation. Once we've fleshed that all out, we've got all of our current situation out on paper so that we can see it, which is what I started you on a few minutes ago, and you should have made some good progress if you've been playing along. Once you can see the current situation, how is your business working for you? Then you can take the next step, which is the green step. And what in nature is green? The grass, the plants, the trees are green. And what is the nature of plants? They are growing, growth. And so the green step here is all about looking at where we're going, where we're growing into, the goals, the outcomes, the destination. Where do we want to be in the future? So we know where we're at from the white step. Now we get a chance to say, all right, in the green step, here's where we want to be. This is where you want to get clear on, sure, income numbers are great, but that's one small piece of all of the things that you'll want to project in the green step. Who are you working with? What types of people at all the levels, whether that's the customers and clients level, whether that's the employees level, the suppliers, the referral side of things. What do you actually want to be doing in the future? So not just who are we working with, what are we doing with them? And you know, there are many cases where people leave corporate America, start out on their own, and they just want to be their own boss. And they find out that they don't really know where they're going. This step is about getting clear on that. Some of it will be lifestyle sides of things. You know, how many hours a week are you planning on actually working? You know, what are you going to do with the time that you're not working? So are you doing this so that you can support your family? If so, you probably want to budget in some time to actually spend with them, assuming that, you know, you're not just going to work yourself to death and let them be provided for by that insurance check from their life insurance. So, you know, what other things are you going to do in your life? What are your hobbies that you're going to pursue? What are the aspects of life that are going to be enjoyable outside of your business itself? And hopefully you're looking at the business aspect of things and saying, look, these are the things that I really love to do in my business. You know, in my case, I love playing with the technology. I love interacting with people. I love teaching. And so those are the things that I really want to focus on in my business. And you know, as it grows, I may have to hand off some of the technology stuff, but I'm still going to have my fingers in there playing with it and be able to manage that. So knowing what I want to have in the future makes it much easier to actually get there. If I don't know, then I'm not likely to get there. So, white step, we established where we currently are, cold, hard facts and figures. Green step, we've looked at where we want to grow into, what are our goals and our outcomes. Now, once we have that very clear, we can move on to the next step, the black step. And what in nature is black? Many people think of darkness, night, as being black. What is the nature of the dark? Well, it hides things. And if you are like me and you turn off the light switch and walk across a dark room to get to your bedroom, then you know that there are furniture pieces that can be hidden in the dark, but you kind of have those mapped out. And there could be toys from the kids hiding that you just stumble over and hopefully don't yell too loud and wake up the family. So the black step is all about the obstacles. What are the things that are hiding out there that may bite us? So, you know, that's kind of two categories of obstacles that we run into, right? There's the furniture type of obstacles where we know they're there, they're not really moving, they're going to be there, all we have to do is map our way around them. Then we have the Lego in the floor type obstacles, the ones that you don't expect, you don't really see coming, and when you step on them, you really bite your tongue, and you don't necessarily have a good plan, because now you're in pain and you're hopping around and you're likely to land on more Lego, and yeah. So what we really want to do is identify more of those Lego type obstacles, and what can we do to work around them will be later, but right now, what are those things? So before I turn that light switch off to walk across the room to the bedroom, I look across the room. I see the couch, I see the chair, I see the tables. I say, all right, here's my path. In that path, oh look, there's Legos there. I better go a different path. Oh yeah, over here's some jacks. Those would be painful. I definitely don't want to go there. Sometimes I look out there and just don't care and stumble through the mess anyway. Right now, black step, what are the obstacles for your business? You know where you are from the white step. You know where you're going from the green step. If there were no obstacles, you would already be at the green step. So sometimes the obstacles are time. You just haven't done enough of what you're doing to get where you want to be. Awesome. Identify it. Sometimes it's money. You need more advertising budget. You need more marketing budget. You need better equipment. You need to increase your inventory. Whatever the case is, there may be some money obstacles going on. It may be people. You need more people. You've not been able to scale because you're doing everything. Great. Identify that that's one of the pieces. Either you need better processes so that the people you do have can do more efficient work, or you need to bring in more people, which is a known obstacle. Great. We need some more people, man hours, or efficiency. It may be that it's an obstacle of the mental variety. You know what to do, you know how to do it, you just never really get around to doing it. It's kind of, well, yeah, I guess I have to do some more marketing, but that's not really, one of my talents, not really one of my strengths, which are horrible self-sabotaging thoughts, by the way, and we'll get rid of those immediately and say, you know what? I've not enjoyed those in the past, but I can find ways to get those things done. A lot of those mental things are as simple as releasing them. Sometimes you need a good coach to come in there, and I've worked with some people and we've eliminated some, they feel ridiculous after you've identified them and eliminated them, but in the moment they've got you hooked. So some of it's habits, some of it's beliefs, some of it's just, we haven't thought things through yet. So there's this mental aspect of things that comes in there also. Identify those sorts of obstacles in this step. So time, money, people, equipment, mental aspects. These are the sorts of things. I'm sure you can come up with other obstacles that will come up in your particular situation. Once you know where you're at from the white step, where you're going in the green step, and where you currently have identified obstacles in the black step, we really want to move on to the yellow step, because if we stop there, okay, so all these things are in the way. Now what? The yellow step. What in nature is yellow? Many people answer the sun is yellow. And what's the nature of the sun? It dispels the dark. And this yellow step is all about solutions. How do we go over, under, around, or through those obstacles? How do we eliminate them as being issues? So we want to solve those obstacles. If it's not enough money, so we start looking in the solution step. All right, we can either change what it is that we're doing so that it doesn't require as much money. We can take out a loan. We could bring on a partner. We could talk to venture capitalists. We could, shift our plan a little so that we're bootstrapping and we actually are generating smaller amounts of revenue from a slightly different aspect to get us further along the road. So these are the sorts of things that you do in the yellow step. It's all about solving that problem that you identified in the black step. So sometimes, as we're working through the yellow step, we want to start throwing up, oh, hey, here's this other obstacle. Oh, here's this other obstacle. Stop that. We want to keep these states as pure as possible. So when we're in the yellow step, we really want to be focused on solutions. If an obstacle comes up, jot it down, get it out of the way. That's all you get to do with those, is note it and keep moving on the solution side of things. The great thing about this path is that if you need to, you take a step back. So if you're at the yellow step and you identify an obstacle that you hadn't come up with before, you take a step back into the black step. You can work in the obstacle mode if you need to, but recognize that you're no longer in the yellow mode. And then when you're done with working on the black mode, you step back into the yellow mode. If you can figuratively or literally do steps, if you can put on a hat, as Edward de Bono talks about in his 6 thinking hats, if you have your solution hat and it's a different hat than your obstacle hat, great. Whatever you need to do, but you really want to remember that blue. We want to manage this process and keep the steps separate. So we're working on the yellow step. We come up with solutions to the obstacles. We've got this grand solution, and this is where you can take a step back to the black and say, okay, here, with that solution in mind, are there any obstacles from that solution? If there are, great, we step back into the yellow mode, we solve those new objections, new obstacles, and once we've gotten all the obstacles taken care of, we can move on to the next step. So we've got obstacles identified in the black, we've got solutions identified in the yellow, we step forward into the red step. What in nature is red? And many people say fire is red. And what is the nature of fire? Fire burns. And the red step is all about those burning emotions, the hunches, the intuitions. So this is where we take all of the work that we've done, identifying where we are at in the white step, identifying where we want to go in the green step, looking at the obstacles that may keep us from getting there from where we're at in the black step, solving those obstacles in the yellow step. Now we're at the red step, looking at all of this, and what is our gut telling us? So do a gut check. How do you feel about this? If you are not drawn and compelled to dive into this plan now, then you've got some issues. It may be that you don't actually like the solution you came up with. There are many cases where we say, all right, here's what we have to do to solve this problem, and we look at that solution and go, you know what? I would be absolutely miserable if I was doing that process. If that's the case, step back and come up with a different solution. Sometimes we get to the red step and we realize, oh, hey, there's this other niggling objection coming up. So if that happens, step back to the black step. Fully flesh out that obstacle, identify it, talk about it, figure out what the components of it are. And then you can step forward into the yellow step, address it, solve it, and then you can move back to the red step. If that's all it, if there's no other objections coming up, if you really love it, everything looks great, then great. Sometimes in the red step, we say, yeah, the solution's fine, I can't think of any other obstacles, but you're just kind of blasé. Well, yeah, I guess I could do that. I'm not really enthused. If that's the case, you really need to go back to the green step and amp that up. If that's all the energy you can muster for the goals that you set, then you're doomed from the start. So this gut check says, you know what, if that future that you've described in the green step is not so compelling that you are going to get out there and knock all those obstacles out of the way, go over them, go around them, do whatever has to happen, then you really need to make that go back all the way back to the green step and identify what it is that you really want. A lot of the time, people coming out of corporate America, starting a business, remember those 543,000 new businesses every month, some of those folks know what they don't want. They don't want a boss. They don't want to deal with the bureaucracy. They don't want to deal with paperwork. They don't want to have meetings, whatever it is that they don't want. However, they haven't really addressed what it is that they do want. The green step is all about what do you want, making it bigger and brighter and more compelling. things that you will be drawn to. And some of the ways that you can improve that green step picture is to actually describe it in sensory-based words. So what would you see in this future? What would it look like? What's going on? What motion is happening? What's moving? Who is there? Where is it? What is the setting? What actions are happening? You can also describe what you would hear in that future situation. So, what sounds do you hear? What voices? What words? What is going on auditorily in that future situation? And you can also talk about the kinesthetic aspects, the movement, the motion, the feeling. So what are you feeling in this future? If you're feeling bored, chances are good you're not going to be compelled to get anywhere near that future. And I probably wouldn't recommend it. If, however, you're in love with life, you're excited about doing your business-related activities every day, if you're noticing that, you know what, I'm spending all this time with my family because the business is actually running the way it should, and I don't have to be there babysitting it all the time, then hold on to that feeling. So, using sensory-based words. What are you smelling? What are you tasting? Is part of your compelling future that you are at the seashore and you're smelling the ocean air? Is it that you are spending a lot of time at the gym and noticing the difference that makes? Are you going and eating out? Are you enjoying wonderful meals? If so, notice what that tastes like. Notice what it smells like. Add that into that picture of your future. So, sensory-based description. Also, you can add in a layer of how do you know that you've reached that goal? How do you know that you're there in the green? So what are the things that you can see, hear, feel, taste, smell, touch? What is it that you will actually interact with that tells you? What evidence do you have that you say, look, I've reached that goal. It's now done. And I can make bigger and better goals. And circling back around to this idea that so many people leave corporate world knowing what they don't want, focus on what you do want. State things as a positive. So some people would say, I want to lose 10 pounds. That's saying what you don't want. Otherwise, you might say, I want to be 175 pounds and have 10% lean, 10% body fat, 90% lean muscle mass. Those are towards. We know what we're getting. It's positively stated. I want that thing. Both pieces are helpful. The away from, I'm getting away from corporate America, I'm getting away from a desk job, whatever it is, gets you moving. And that's awesome. Once you're moving, if you don't have something you're moving towards, then you just kind of wander. It's like saying, I'm in Chicago and I'm going on a road trip and I'm leaving Chicago. But where are you going? Are you going to Boston? Are you going to Albuquerque? Are you going to Seattle? Which direction are you headed? So, having a towards is really powerful in this aspect. All these things go into that gut check. You gut check against the green step. Is it really compelling? Awesome. You gut check against the black step. Are there any other obstacles that are coming up now? You gut check against the yellow step. Hey, those solutions actually look like things that I would enjoy to do to solve these problems. And sometimes it's, you have to, I wouldn't hate doing them even if I wouldn't love doing them. But you know what? I'm willing and able to do those solutions that I proposed. And I'm feeling pretty good about this. And you know what? I have a gut feeling, I have a hunch that this is really going to work out. This whole path, the blue over overarching guiding through the process. The white, the cold hard facts and figures of the current situation. The green, that growing, compelling outcome of where we want to go. The black, what are those obstacles that are going to get in our way that have kept us from going to that green place from the white place that we already are. The yellow step of describing solutions to those obstacles you identified in the black step, and the red step to gut check the whole process. Is there anything we missed? Because your gut will tell you, your unconscious has a way of communicating. If you stop and actually notice, what am I feeling in my body? Am I feeling good? Are there any places that my body's telling me, you know what? Nope, nope, nope. Then you need to listen to those places, you know, put some words to that location in your body you're feeling that, and go explore that some more, stepping back as far down the path as you need to address that fully. Right. So this is the order. Blue overarches everything. Then we need to go white, green, black, yellow, red. What happens if we don't follow this order? So we have some potential missteps off the path. What if we start with the white and we go right into black? So we know where we're at, and here are some obstacles, and here are some solutions from the yellow. Great. Where are we going? How do we know that those are real obstacles or not? So this path is not a path of self-discovery. This is a path of pain and suffering from solving problems that don't really exist. So we've got all these solutions to problems that are not really problems. Great. Not really where we wanted to be. The next situation, we start at white. Here's where we're at. Green, here's where we're going. And then we go straight to red and say, great, that looks spectacular. Awesome. I love this vision. Let's go. But how are we getting there? We don't know what the obstacles are. We don't have the solutions to that. So we're all jazzed up. And the first obstacle that we run into, we get discouraged, and you know, the people who do that tend to wander away from what it is they've built. So they're going to be one of those 1 in 3 people who's closed their doors within the first 2 years. Certainly don't want that. Next potential misstep. We start at the white. Yes, here's where I'm at. Green, here's where I'm going. Black, here are the obstacles. And you skip straight to red. Ooh, how do you feel about those obstacles? Well, yeah, I don't really like that. That doesn't look good. These are the people who stop before they ever start. If they make it that far and they follow this path, they say, great, I've got these resources. Here's where I want to go. Oh, all that stuff's in the way. Well, I guess I shouldn't try at all. Which, again, we certainly don't want that. Let's go back to the real path and actually get all the pieces in there. All right, another misstep is we start with the green. Here's where I want to go. And black, here are the obstacles to get there. And red, well, I feel kind of unresourceful because, you know, I don't know where we're at now. I just know that I want to be over there. I want to make $1 million. And what are the obstacles to making $1 million? Well, I don't have a business. I don't have a business plan. I don't have time. I don't have money. And how are you going to feel at that point? Pretty gross. So you've identified where you want to go and your obstacles and felt bad about it. Whoops. Let's actually identify our resources before we get that far down the path. All right, here's the last one for now. We start with, here are all the obstacles that keep us from getting moved forward. And then we say, oh yeah, but we got all these resources. And then how do we feel about that? Well, great, you know, we've got these obstacles and we've got these resources, so, you know, we should be fine. And again, we have no plan coming out of this. It's just kind of that feeling of, great, we'll just chug along. You know, we've got all these obstacles, yeah, but we got all these resources too, so we'll just apply those and we'll be fine. This is possibly called willful ignorance. These are the sorts of folks who, again, are going to be that 1 in 3 that don't make it to the end of 2 years. So let's recap the correct order for the path. We start with that focus on the process, the overarching blue, managing that whole process of walking the path. Then we go into the white step, cold hard facts and figures about where we are today. What is our current situation? We move into that green step where we really look at what is it that we want when we're done with all of this. Where do we want to be? What kind of goals do we have? And it really needs to be that compelling, driving, exciting sort of thing. Black step, what are the obstacles that are keeping us from going from today to that green future? And identify all of those things. Step into the yellow and say, here are solutions to go over, under, around, through, blow up, demolish, eliminate those obstacles. Once you have that solution in place, those plans are made, then you step into the red step. You check against your gut. You go with your hunches and your intuitions about how that plan will work, whether you got all your obstacles, how compelling and wonderful that outcome is, and what you're going to do starting from where you are today to move yourself forward. This is that path of self-discovery. So with all of that in mind, do you know where you are, where you're going, and how to get there? Are you doing what needs to be done once you've got that plan in place? So while we're recapping, did I fulfill my promises to you? We covered what 80% of small businesses don't realize, and that is more than $50,000 in revenue in a year. How dressing is like business planning. If you're mixing your tea and coffee in with you're pulling on a sweater, or if you are getting things out of order by putting your shoes on and then your socks, that is like following the path in goofy order or mixing and mingling these various steps. The other way that dressing is like business planning is if you don't do it, you'll get caught with your trousers down. Discuss the native wisdom for modern businesses. This is that path of self-discovery that we've been spending the last half hour on. The 2 ways to sabotage your business: not knowing where you are, where you're going, and how to get there, and not doing what needs to be done. And then the 6 steps to prevent that sabotage and create the business of your dreams. Blue step, white step, green step, black step, yellow step, red step. While we're checking in, did I fulfill my 3 purposes? Did you learn a bunch of actionable information? I certainly hope so. How much more fun can you handle? Probably not much. Are you ready to take it to the next level? Because your options moving forward from here, you could do nothing, in which case I really hope that I've been entertaining for this last 45 minutes. Otherwise, you could have spent your time and energy on much more useful things. If you've enjoyed it, great, and goodbye, good luck, see you later. You could hire a coach or a consultant. I do fulfill those roles, and I have 1 or 2 opportunities available at the moment for that. But that is not my focus right now. Today, I really think that you should pick this 3rd solution, which is spend $2.99 and a few hours and develop a clear path. How does this work? Well, it turns out that I've taken this 6 steps process, this path of self-discovery, and condensed it into a book. It's focused on entrepreneurs and small business owners, and it guides you through. It is the blue step. So get the book. It's on Kindle. If you go to this URL, http://merx.net bbs3, if you go to merx.net/bbs3, you can then pick up the workbooks, the worksheets rather. They're printable PDF worksheets right there on the page. You can download them. If that's all you need to make this happen, great. If you need a little bit more, spend the $3 on the Kindle. If you don't have a Kindle itself or iPhone or Android that you have the app on, you can actually read this right there on the web, on Amazon, in their reader, and walk through the process. There's some great stories in there. The process is all laid out, and you can go from nothing to full-blown plan for life, for business, for the world in a few evenings worth of work. with all of that said, I just want to say thank you. I appreciate you joining today, and I'm happy to help through sharing this information today. I wish you all the best in your business, and if you want a little more help, merx.net/bbs3, pick up the worksheets, the link's there to buy the Kindle book, and go out there and walk that path of self-discovery.